Hello everyone, welcome to another Fudce Reviews. Welcome to the Castles of Burgundy, a game by Stefan Feld, released by Ravensburger. Le Château de Bourgogne, or something like that. I don't speak French, but I imagine that's how it's pronounced. Possibly more shrugging and onions. But here we have it. The Castles of Burgundy. It's another resource management, limited turn game, which looks, if you look at that box, it looks more like a jigsaw puzzle than it does a board game. It looks like, you should, rather than how it's saying Ravensburger, it looks like it should say, actually Ravensburger released Jigsaw, so what am I talking about? Instead of saying Alea, it should say 1,000 pieces, or 2,500 pieces, or something like that, because it does not look like a board game. But if we flip it over, as is customary, we get one way up. 15th century princes from the Loire Valley devote their efforts to strategic trading and building in order to bring their estates I'll start that again. 15th century princes from the Loire Valley devote their efforts to strategic trading and building in order to bring their estates to prosperity and prominence throughout Burgundy. This exciting game is challenging and brings out the competitions for evenings of fun. Le Val de Loire a 50 merciques, en tant que pensée riche en influence. I'm probably insulting an entire country there, so I'll stop. Well, this is a game released in 2011 by Ravensburger, it looks like, by Stefan Feld, and it is quite a simple game actually. It looks really complicated, and the little blurb down the bottom corner there tells you it's 2 to 4 players, age is 12 plus, takes 30 to 90 minutes to play. It's a moderately, it's on the middle to the high side of a scale of difficulty, and it tells you what's in the game if you can actually read that. But it's pretty much a straightforward, elegant looking box really. It doesn't really show the same sort of oomph that a board game would normally have. So, without further ado, let's actually flip it back over and flip it the wrong way up again and actually open the thing up. So, the box card is, as Ravensburger do actually make jigsaws, you can probably tell what box I've got. This is relatively flimsy, but it does a job. It keeps it all in. You don't lose any pieces. Well, that's another thing I'll get to in a moment. And here we have the board. So I'll push that to one side now. I'll flip that over so you know what I'm doing. And we have the game board. There we are. I have a camera to focus in on it, so I push that out of the camera. Which I'll put that to one side because otherwise it's going to be in the light. Okay, that's the board. And it looks pretty much straightforward actually. You've got a scoring track around the outside, with a weird little jaggedy bits here for no reason. I assume they originally wanted to go up to 100, and they got to their thing in 84 and thought, oh damn, we're not going to make it to 100. In fact, if we go 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, they only got to 92, not 100, so I decided to add an extra few bumps in the road. And you've got, it looks like a complicated board. You've got a pathway there, you've got some letters there, and you've got some weird hexagons and normals all over the place. It looks horrible. It's got dice marks everywhere. It looks even worse when you can look at the player mats, because each player gets a player mat, looking like that. And I'll push the board out of the way so you can see it a little bit easier. The player mat. Again, I've got that wrong way up. There we are. Again, you would look at that and thinking, what the hell have I let myself into? Until you realise that this game is purely based on rolls of dice. And rolls of dice and hexagons. So each player gets a game mat. You got several mats of the same type, and you get some which are more complicated. The number 1 mat, if you look at the little bottom there, it says 1, is this one. And then you've got mats 2 through 7, I think it is, which are on the flip side of them. That one's number 4, with different patterns of layouts here. But I'll show you that one because that one's less complicated one. And this is your territory. Again, I'll push a game board up that way so you can actually see this a bit better. This is your territory. And you've got a guidebook. And at the bottom of the thing, I always keep this in this box just for company's sake. As with a box, you've got a French rule book. Whenever I'm teaching something new to a game, I always give them this one. Just for comic effect. Okay, here's the rules. Have fun. Il dit à jour, le Val-de-Loire au cours du 15e siècle, entendre quoi pense enfant lorsque le jour... I need to shrug more, clearly. Anyway, enough about the French rules. Let's show you game pieces. Now, if you look in my box, you'll notice it's nicely bagged up. Little bags and little pieces everywhere. Yeah, the game doesn't come with those bags. All these pieces, you've got all these pieces in here. These pieces, they all come on the standard press out piece of cards you get with these games, and you put them in a thing. You put the box in your bag or on a shelf, and the moment you pick it up next time, the pieces are everywhere. There's no piece control or piece management at all. And these pieces, they are easily sortable because they are colour coded. But it can be a right pain in the backside to actually get them back into the right box or right place when you're playing. So that's one negative for this game. It hasn't got much piece management. Needs more plastic boxes. Or bags, in this case. I actually got these bags from another game. I'm trying to remember what one it was, but I can't remember off the top of my head. No, I can't remember. Oh well. So, you have these hexes. You've got these green hexes. You've got these sort of beige hexes. You've got these yellow hexes. You've got these blue hexes. These green hexes in here as well. And there's grey hexes in here as well if you look. There you go. And these black hexes. Now if you're paying attention, those colours match up with the grey, blue, beige, green, yellow and black on my board. And the numbers on the board actually determine how many players. So when you're filling up a board, if you only got 2 players, you only fill in anything which says number 2, so you don't fill that one. For instance, that says 4. And so the game actually adjusts its resources based on the number of people who are playing. And each different colour represents a different type of thing you can buy. For instance, blue. The blue ones are always boats. And boats determine player order. For instance, if you're further down the line, you go later down the game. And as you play boats, you move yourself further up. Now, as to where you play these things, you play them on your game board. For instance, I'm going to get out these green ones, which are farms, well, animal farms. Well, that's something else entirely, actually, but let's not get into that. And as you can see, I'm going to get a few in my hands so I can show you in closer detail. There we are. You've got all different types of animals. For instance, you've got 3 sheep. 3 cows. 2 chicken. 2 sheep. And so on. And each of these pieces, when you buy them, or when you get them, they're on there. So you know that on that one there are 3 sheep. And so on your turn, what you would actually do Each player has 2 dice, blue, red, black and green. And there's a single white dice, which I'll get to in a moment. So each player has a pair of dice. Now let's say I'm blue player. To start my turn, I would roll those 2 dice. And I would roll, in this case, a 6 and a 5. And so, you spend those dice on doing things. Now, if you want to buy an item from the area out here, let's say that one is a number 4. I can't buy that because it's on 4 and I rolled a 5 and a 6. There are ways to buy things in those areas, but just purely on a dice roll, I can't. If it was there or there, I could buy it. Let's say it's there actually. It's a number 6. And so I will spend my number 6 dice and buy that. Now that goes in my pool of things I can build. Down there. Now in order to build something, you need again the right number of dice. For instance, this one says 5, so I spend that 5. I can build that there on that number 5 there. I can't build it there because that says 4. Can't build it there because that's blue, not green, and so on. And so, what you roll just determines what you can do. Now, the other rules about building, for instance, you always start with something in the centre, a castle on the number 6 and a centre thing. I think the castle starts elsewhere on one of the other maps, I'm not sure exactly. And you can only build adjacent to what you already have. For instance, let's imagine this is a castle there, if I have that there, I can't build at 5 because it's nowhere near that. But if I had a blue 5, a blue thing, I could put there for number 5, and so on. Now, some of the other things you can do your numbers. You can sell goods, trade goods, and goods are these things here. And you notice these goods have got numbers on them as well. So that one you need a 4 to sell. That one you need a 6 to sell and buy, and so on. And buying and selling goods is how you make points. You also make points with things here. You get more points if you complete things. You get points for what you have, and so on. And as you accumulate points throughout the game, your piece goes around the edge here, and you score points. So the person at the end of the game with most points wins the game. Now, I'm simplifying dramatically here when I do this, but the game evolves as you play it. Your board and what's on there will determine what you do to get points. If you're a first person, you have an advantage because you get first pick of what's available. But you only have 2 actions per turn. And the game is limited on how many turns there are, because each phase of the game, phases A, B, C, D and E, has 5 rounds. This track down there. And once those rounds are over, the game is over. Once you get to E5, the game is over. And those phases of the game, if I bring the board back down so you can actually see what I'm talking about, that's where the goods come in. So, on phase A, we have 5 goods there, which get stacked down there, and the 9th dice of the game, the white dice, the first player rolls, and for instance I roll a 2. It means the good there, the first good, will go on number 2. And so on. Now, I am oversimplifying this game dramatically at the moment. It is a lot more involved, but very, very good and fun. If you are coming into gaming, maybe look for something along the lines of a Ticket to Ride, first of all, something like Settlers of Catan. But once you've started getting bored or have learned how to play that on, and your friends and family have learned how to play Ticket to Ride or Settlers of Catan, Castles of Burgundy is a great stepping stone to a more advanced games. It is a brilliant game. Looks horribly complicated, but it really isn't. So go out. I recommend buying it, playing it with your friends, and have fun. Well, thank you very much for watching. This has been Fudce Reviews with Castles of Burgundy. Next time I'm going to be doing another game. I've got a couple of games behind me to record while doing this. So look out for that. I think I'm going to be doing the maid deck building card game Tantacore next week. So have a wonderful day. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.